How's everybody doing today? Good? Crazy. I should just point at someone to go to the next slide. Does anybody, I know it's right after lunch. Thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Security will return in 5 minutes. Does anybody need to charge their phones? Come on, I got a cool USB-C cable here. This one's really cool. This is my favorite cable because it does lightning, see? And then you pull it apart and it does USB, micro USB for like the Samsungs, no? You're killing me. Okay, so insider threats. If I pull this one apart, this one has a microcontroller in it. Flip it over, you put a SIM card in it. Anybody want to take a guess what this is? Nope. You'll win a cool prize. No. Nope. What? No. What? No, it doesn't. So, a lot of good guesses. This one actually is a GPS locator and microphone. So all I have to do is text it, the phone number with a special code, and then it turns on the GPS locator. I can track it wherever it is. If it's plugged in, it's got to be powered. It will power your phone. You will not notice any difference unless you x-ray it and figure it out. Cool story. So I saw my neighbor, because he lets me hack his home automation home next to me, so that's always fun. So I left the cable in his car one time, and I see him leave, and so I text my little cable there, and I hear him in the car bitching about having to go to the store because it's Sunday. He wants to watch football, and his wife's saying, you need to go get something. And I'm like, so I call him up, and I said, Matt, come on, brother. Just go get the ice cream. And he hangs up on me, and I'm sure there was multiple 4-letter words in there somewhere. I did get my cable back, thank God. But yeah, I'm fun at parties. Let's put it that way. So the white cable I showed you, same thing. That one actually is super sophisticated. That one is controlled by this little device. So this one is kind of like an evil cable, a little bit different though. It actually has 2 payloads on it, one for Windows and one for Mac, and I use it to steal passwords. It's great because nobody suspects that cable at all because everyone, what don't you pick up anymore? USB drives. But boy, a white Apple cable, you taking that, okay? Really cool stuff. So this antenna will work about 50 feet away. The whole wire is the antenna, so I get really good range with it. But I tested it with another guy. And I was actually from building to building. I used my directional antenna, and I could see him through the window in his office, and then I was stealing his stuff remotely. So that one's really cool. So yeah, the entire thread is me. Okay, thank you for coming. Enjoy the veal. No, awesome. Okay, we'll see if this works. Oh, there's me. Email address, I work with Carbon Black as well. I'm a technical guy, so I don't sell you anything, except I have a price list for you. I'm just kidding. Okay, what's the little trivia for a prize? What's the National Insider Threat Awareness Month? Who said that? Come here, there you go. I got these cool remove before cyber tags for if you answer cool questions, there you go. I also call them free hugs with the TSA, if you have that on your backpack. Not that I've gotten a free hug about every 20 days after I'm at the airport with those guys. It is September, awesome. So the threatscape, we have everything out there, DDoS attacks. Do y'all realize the biggest DDoS attack happened last week? Yeah, it was some ridiculous 330 million packets per second, all from a botnet of 20,000 hosts, which is actually pretty small. I've seen botnets of 1.5 million is the biggest one I've ever seen. But yeah, DDoS, insider threats, which we're talking about today, and all this other stuff. So if nothing else, Paul Bart will be there to help protect you, and so that's always good. So I always bring in threats from wherever I am, and it's so funny because when I give speeches, they always ask, Dave, we need your slides like a week before, 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before a conference. And I'm like, no, because I'm always updating my slide. I literally updated this about 30 minutes ago. On the elevator, you see, I came on the elevator in the hotel because I'm staying here. And we got in the elevator. I thought it was hilarious that the lady next to me was like, where's floor 19? I'm like, oh, man, she goes, it goes from 18 to 9. What? So somebody has been, and I've checked 5 different elevators in these elevator banks over here, okay? 5 of the elevators have the ones removed. I found one that doesn't. So there's an insider threat going on in this hotel, okay? But I found out who was doing it. Okay. So yes, that is my Twitter handle, Network232. So I post funny tweets up there if you want to follow me. I'm going to do my shameless, I was going to wait to the end, but I'll do my shameless plug now. I'm vying for the keynote speaker next year at George R. Brown. Okay, so take my Twitter address. When I send out the poll, please respond to it. Even if you don't like me or my talk isn't any good, I've tried to do that. I'm just messing with you. Okay. So I moved. Actually, I'm from Houston, Houstonian. I moved up to New Hampshire in 2014, December 2013, actually. And I went to a restaurant one time, and I go up to it, and I'm like, well, that's pretty obvious, you know. Not only did they not plug the security camera in, you see the power strip at the top, but they didn't even plug in the camera itself. How are they going to catch any threats? They're not. So does anybody want to see what it looks like in 2023? I kid you not. I took this a month ago. Okay? I cannot make this up. How many people's security programs have vaporware that they never install, they don't do any with, and this is your security program? Not good. Okay. I always like to pick on hotels. I was at a hotel. I was given another keynote speech, actually, on the East Coast several years ago. And, when I checked in, they gave me my card, and they said, Dave, here's your card. You need your card to get to your floor. You got to push it in the thing. And I'm like, okay, cool. All right, we got some security going on here. Until I walked on the elevator and I saw this. Now, being who I am, I tried that card. And it did. It took you to every single floor. So what do you think is the most interesting about that card? Anybody want to take a guess? No, it doesn't. I won't confirm or deny that it does not open hotel rooms, okay? Keep that between us, okay? It uses a mag strip. Mag strips can be cloned in less than a second. It's like zoop, and it's done. Easier than what do you call them? Like HID, RFID cards and stuff like that. Oh, sorry. If you're last, then you have to come up to the very front and do a little dance for us. Make a little noise. Okay. Wait till someone's phone rings. Then we're gonna have some fun. So I'll tell you this. Another interesting story. So I was in New York. I was given a speech, not a speech, but an NDA briefing, a high-level briefing to a bunch of 3-letter agencies. I can't say who all was there, but you can guess who was in New York. So I had about 40-something people in this room, and it's a highly secure building, multiple checkpoints. You have to go through a man trap to get to where I was talking to these people. And it was hilarious because I'm sitting there giving my talk, and I gave a 3-hour briefing on some my specialty is nation-state attacks, so I was giving them a talk on some nation-state threats to New York City, actually. And I was sitting there, and I was like, guys, about an hour and a half into the thing, I said, I'm going to use the bathroom. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. Just make a right, go out, and then when you come back, call us, and we'll let you back in. I said, okay, no problem, because there's no buzzer. It's a secure hallway kind of thing. I was like, no problem. So I go to the bathroom. I come back in the room a few minutes later, and I continue my talk. One person got it. A couple people are smiling. how the hell did I get back through this double man trap back into that room? Okay, so I'll tell you the funny thing. So I'll have to set this down. So Gentry, is that, you see it? So the guy that was sitting like about third row, he had his ID badge on him. So I literally just looked at his badge and I go, man, that's a really awesome badge. It has the Statue of Liberty on it and stuff. It was a really cool badge. And then I can carry it on. I did that in the first 3 or 4 minutes of me being in that room. Okay. I cloned his RFID. It takes about 6 seconds, and I cloned it. And then all I do is I just walked up to the reader and go, beep. The door's open. They close behind me. Now I can open up the man trap, and now I walk back in. They didn't invite me back. But, yeah, they changed their security protocols after they heard me talk. So if you have a boss like this, he's the insider threat. I'm just saying. You've heard of BYOD? This is BYOFS, bring your own fire extinguisher. I'm just saying, it's a real picture. I was flying back from São Paulo, Brazil, and my buddy sent me this. He went to go do a sales call at this building. He thought that was hilarious. This is your network protected by Cisco. I gave a speech in Malaysia a couple years ago. I had 200. Cisco was having things, so they invited me out to give a talk, and I actually showed that picture. And can you imagine having 200 Cisco people in a room and they see that? Yeah, it was pretty funny. So the picture on the right was from RSA 4 years ago. Both of these are vendor booths. What do vendors put in the booths? They put all their laptops, their prizes, those Bose speakers that somebody's going to give you later today. You know, all the cool stuff? Yeah, I'm just saying. So what is an insider? Of course, we have to go to Wikipedia because it's the end-all, be-all, right? I mean, that was before ChatGPT, right? Boom. It's anybody, right? Business, contractors, employees, anything could be an insider threat. Insider threat is probably the most underrepresented or reported threat that you see out there because it's I don't want to use the word shame, but it's the saving face, you know. It's like, oh my God, we had a bad employee. They usually pay them off or get them out or they charge them or something like that. So who's ever read The Art of War? A few people? Yeah, I mean, there's so many cyber references in there, it's not even funny. This is one of my favorite ones here. If you know yourself but not the enemy, for every victory gained, you'll suffer defeat. We have to know the threats. That's what it's saying, right? You've got to know your enemy before anything else, okay? So, some little trivia here. What does Hollywood say? What was this guy doing? Yes, but what was he doing? No prize for you. Well, he was there doing something. Yeah, yeah. Look, God, he got it. Okay, do you want red or black? You got one black. Do you want a red one? There you go. Cool. He was actually trying to commit intellectual property theft. Because he was trying to steal the dino eggs, everything else was a consequence of him shutting down the systems and everything else. Okay, what was this guy trying to do? Huh? Wipe out debt? Kind of. He was actually doing sabotage because his main goal was to wipe out all the data. And his main goal on top of that was to wipe out the backups. That was his number one. Remember, he was trying to go after the big building that was secured all the backups. He wanted to wipe that out. What about this guy? Financial fraud, yes. No, nobody. You're raising your hand? Green. No, go ahead. Boom. Superman 3 right there. if you like a tag. Fraud, for sure. What about this guy? I'm just checking the time on my watch. Yes, it's Edward Snowden. Okay, so just to preface this, okay, I was in the U.S. military, so I have my own thoughts on this whole thing, but stay after class. Was he doing espionage, or was he a whistleblower? Both at the same time, possibly. Some people are. It's very few people are on the edge that have both. It's either one or the other. And especially if you're at the government layer, it's only one. Crazy. Okay, so several years ago, this tweet was posted. That was discovered inside a couple hundred Cisco switches sold out of China. What do you think that is? Do what? Yes. It actually created a VPN tunnel back to China. Yes, sorry, I had a little cough. That's what it was doing. Now, how many people open up their switches and routers and stuff when they get them? There's 3 of us. That's awesome. It's like, so I do a lot of reverse engineering for companies. They'll send me their gear, and I'm looking for crap like this, and I'm looking for backdoors and soft firmwares mainly and stuff. But it's always interesting to find that kind of stuff, for sure. So these guys, Cypher, they actually were looking for insiders at Wells Fargo, Bank of America, and Chase, okay? Someone that could do wire transfers. They were looking for an insider to help them make these transfers, okay? They were actively recruiting people. And they were trying to get amounts from 200,000 to several million, and you got paid big time for this, okay? If you did a $1 million transfer, they'd give you like $100,000. So, crime pays, I guess. Okay. So this guy's interesting. This former IT guy, he left a backdoor account. He accessed his company's network over 700 times in 1 year. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but I play one on TV. He accesses his corporate network 2.3 times a day. So he was probably working harder after he left than when he was actually in there. This guy's not good. This guy, this rogue IT, and I'll preface this whole conversation about bad IT people. There's very, very few bad IT people. I just happen to be the one called to deal with those for some reason. I just happen to do those. But this guy was shutting down the Canadian train switches, which could have caused massive problems. I live in the Northeast. I live up in New Hampshire. And like on the East Coast, like 70% of all the lumber and stuff come from trains from Canada. So imagine the disruption if that would have happened. This guy, he hacked back into his former, employee. He was disgruntled, that kind of thing. Took over 1,000 servers. Bad guy. So this guy, this is an insider threat. One of the hardest threats to stop is the phone. Okay, so at this medical clinic, they couldn't print and they couldn't put USB devices in their machines. So what did they do? They were taking pictures of all the medical information and selling it. So bad. Very hard to find. Now, I don't talk bad about people, and these guys are next door. But they had an employee trying to sell customers' info to scammers. You've heard those, your virus is out of date, you owe us $5,000 or something. So this is another one. This guy tried to extort his firm and get 6 years in prison. This was back in May of 2023. And he demanded 50 Bitcoin from that company, $1.9 million at the time. So So this guy, this IT employee impersonates this ransomware gang. What makes this one really bad is he was on the IR team during their incident. I can't make this shit up. I can't. Ah, man. So I see a few people on their laptops. Yeah, how you doing over there? All right. Yeah, just let me know if you see anything on that screen. So yeah, this was bad right here. So not only did he created an email alias that was really close to the attackers, and he would send emails back into the company saying, "Hey, I'm the ransom guy. Here's my crypto key, or my wallet. Send me money." Luckily, they caught him before that happened. Okay. So I literally last week I gave a speech to all the cities in Massachusetts. So I had 351 cities, municipalities, and I talked about this particular case. This is out of New Jersey. And this guy, he had 46 devices all over the network, under the floor, in empty electrical panels. He was mining Bitcoin, okay? And people were complaining that the network was slow, that the IT people started complaining, saying, "Hey, the server room is always hot." Why? It's like when they shut this guy down, they removed all these devices and all the devices from the server room, the temperature went down 20 degrees. That's how much. They estimated he was stealing about $6,000 a month in electricity, So, does DLP work? Not if I'm pen testing. Unfortunately, no, DLP doesn't work as well as it could or should. I find it very hard. I mean, as a pen tester, that's my job to get past DLP and stuff like that, but still. This particular company who makes DLP software did this on all their employees, and they had 4 salespeople walk off with all of their clients. And the DLP was blind, it didn't see any of it. And it was basically about 8 months after they left that they figured out, hold on a second, these 4 people left, a whole bunch of these clients went with them. That's kind of strange. And then they started investigating to figure out what happened, and that's what happened. And they started suing them. So she's awesome. So she was an NSA analyst, and I used that loosely that she was. She's definitely not anymore. So she was trying to, this is several years ago, it's 2017, she was trying to leak information to the media. She actually did leak information to the media, okay? What she was doing of course, NSA computers are highly monitored, okay, for just these kind of threats. She would print them out and take the printouts. She would just put them on her stomach or her back and walk out the front door, because they checked her purse and they checked all that, and you had to go through a metal detector in that particular building. The way they caught her is thank you to the CIA, because it's a joint between CIA and Secret Service. Years and years and years ago, the Secret Service, to combat bank fraud, because color laser printers were coming out, they decided to put microdots in the printer. So every single laser printer puts microdots on the paper somewhere. You don't know where it is unless you happen to work with Secret Service to figure this shit out. But it usually tells you the printer name, the serial number, date and time, if that's available. It has a little bit of metadata in there. And that's how they caught her. They got the printouts, and they tagged it back to the actual printer, and then they rewound their security footage as they could follow her to do that, okay? This guy, he shuts down and deletes everything on the day he's fired. That's like, come on, guys. Let's not do that. Okay, so this is story time. So I worked a case, and I won't say I've changed the names to protect the innocent. I worked a case one time where I got a call from a friend of mine who's in IT business and says, "Dave, I've got a customer that thinks that they've gotten breached, they've gotten hacked." And I said, "Okay, no problem, we'll take a look at it." He gave me the CIO's name and number, And they said, okay, he's going to be calling you, blah, blah. I gave him, your number. I said, okay, that's fine. And he told me when, and I found it a little bit odd when he said he's going to call you at this particular time and date. I was like, okay, that's fine. So I take this guy's call, super nice guy, scared to death. He's like, Dave, I really think we're breached. A lot of our information, they were they still are a financial company. They were acquiring other financial companies, and somehow somebody's leaking and knows the amount of money that they're trying to acquire these companies for. Really deep insider information, and they can't figure out who the hell it is. And I was like, okay, all right. And he goes, I can't talk on the phone anymore, but that's the gist. But I have more details. I want to talk in person. I said, yeah, that's fine. When do you want me to come to your office? 'Cause it's out of town, so I had to fly in. And he goes, no. Gave me an address and said, I have to meet you there at 1:30 in the morning. Now, I'm from Texas, so I'm packing. I did have security with me. I had law enforcement because I work a lot with FBI and local law enforcement. So I did have law enforcement with me and a bodyguard. I did check this guy out, very legit, no problem. We did meet at that. He actually had a rent car and a burner phone. That's where he called me from. He was that scared. He thought everything was compromised. So he told me the whole thing. So we began our investigation. A couple days later, they had some suspicions of several people. So we went and at 3:30 in the morning, we went into their office and we went and put spyware on all these boxes. We configured the spyware with an encryption key that only the CIA or CIO knew, and it would only talk to a burner laptop. So he could see the screenshots and keystrokes and everything, just him. We couldn't see it. After that morning, I was at 3:30 in the morning. We were finished in about 40 minutes. We were out. The next morning at 8:30, I get a frantic phone call from the CIO. It says, you need to get here right now. This is bad. I was like, shit. I go, get out of the hotel, drive down the street to this guy's place, and we're sitting there reviewing the logs. And in the logs, you can see the screenshots of this one individual. He would, when he walked in his office, he turned on his computer, and he opened up Outlook. And how you can see all the mailboxes that you can see? He had the 40 of the top executives, the attorney, the comptroller, CFO. He had everyone's email box open, and he was copying them off to USB drives. Now, he thought that there was something strange going on with his computer. So right before he did that, I backed the logs up a little bit. He actually went into the system log and the application log looking because he thought something might have gotten installed. Okay, I'm smarter than the average bear, so there was nothing for him to find. So he quickly dismissed that and kept going. So another thing that we did was right across from the hallway, if you look at the security footage, you can actually see him coming out of his office and look at the computers in front. We actually powered them all off. So it looked like a power failure or something happened, and then he just went back in his office and kept trying to steal information. So needless to say, law enforcement was called. He was yanked out of his office, put in one of their conference rooms. He didn't want to talk to anybody, nobody. We had the FBI come out. They were a couple of hours away. And I just asked the corporate attorney, can I talk to this guy? Would that be okay? And he goes, okay, sure. If you want to talk to him, just don't give him any information what we know. I said, no, I don't do that. So I talked to him for about 5 minutes, and then he spilled the beans to me. He'd been doing this for about a year and a half, and he was selling this information to 13 of their competitors. Of all of these companies that they were acquiring, bad stuff. Anybody want to take a guess how much he made on this? And this is a multi-billion-dollar company acquiring multi-million-dollar other companies. 50,000? Okay. 100,000? Okay. Do we $1 million? No. $1. No, you're not low. You're not high enough, and you didn't go over. We got the prices right. He made $64,000 for 9 years in jail and $350,000 fine. Was that worth it? No. So here's General Electric. Same thing. They had some employees that stole the cleaning and tuning procedures for jet engines. It's very precise, very technical of what they got to do. They started their own business, and then GE's like, hold on a second, how they can't use our methods that we do. So that's what they did. This guy, he caused $800,000 in damage. This was in 2020, another IT admin. This reassigned Tesla employee was pretty funny because he got reassigned to another department, so he starts hacking into the Tesla network. And as soon as he got caught, which they did, they have really good security at Tesla, he goes, whoa, 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 I'm a whistleblower. You can't touch me. I mean, 25 minutes. Okay, we have 25 minutes. Is that possible? I mean, I can't make this up, okay? So interesting thing with Tesla. So several years ago, stuff was getting leaked to the press, so they would send emails to their staff, and each email was personalized per staff member. And all they did, they used a binary code using spaces in between sentences. So as soon as that leak came out, they could just look at the thing and binary decode it back out, and they knew exactly what employee was leaking the data. Really ingenious. Nobody was going to see that. This is my honorable mention insider threat. This guy outsourced his job to China. Okay. What's interesting here is that they had two-factor authentication. They had RSA tags. He would actually take his RSA tag and FedEx it to China. Every time they swapped out a card or it went bad, he would ship it out, okay? And he paid this guy, I think it was like $50,000 a year. Yeah, $50,000 to do this. And when they looked at his browsing history on his computer, he literally was shopping and watching cat videos and not doing his job, okay? This is my best insider threat for today is this guy, he was trying to hack it back into the jail network to get his friend released early. That's pretty funny. What I would have done is let the guy says, yeah, your buddy's getting out early. Come pick him up. So then they could have grabbed him and put him in jail, but they didn't. They arrested him at home. It's like, come on, you got to make this fun. So, you heard the keynote this morning about, AI and all this other good stuff. So I'll throw a little bit in there. This is the faking of the insider threat. They used, voice to mimic this guy's voice, and they stole $243,000 from this company. So, do you want to go for the whammy? Okay, we're going to go for the whammy. These guys stole $35 million. Very elaborate. They did phishing emails. They did business email compromise. And then they cloned this guy's voice, the director's voice, off of his voicemail. Because his voicemail says, hey, I'm John Rhodes. I'm the director. I'm not here this week. Call me. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. No, I'm just kidding. But they used that to train the AI so they would call. And then they would back up the calls with emails. So when this accountant saw, hey, yeah, we're trying to acquire a company. I already know about it because I've already got all these emails. And the guy sending me the emails just called me. And I talked to him on the phone physically. And he says, send $35 million. They did it with not blinking an eye. In the next 7 days, they tried to call again and kept this ruse up. They tried to get more money. But then they finally figured out, oh, crap, something's wrong. This isn't right. It's like, man, you got to trust and verify. Verify, verify, verify. Okay? So 69% of security leaders say his DLP cannot stop insider threat. Y'all agree with that? Yeah, I say the number's higher, to be personally honest. Some of the numbers, insider threats cost anywhere from 15 to 17 million, affects over 35% of businesses annually. Most of it is from negligent or English is not my first language, is misconfiguration, okay? About 53% of the respondents says these attacks are growing more challenging because of the cloud. Because what's wrong with the cloud? SLA. I mean, to me, it's a 3-letter bad word. It should be a 4-letter word because it's bad. Because most of these SLAs won't let you pen test. They don't have good logs, and the authentication records, they make it difficult to get this stuff, okay? Privileged users, of course, are the most prone, and third parties are causing a lot more insider threats because a lot more cloud apps and all that kind of stuff. Companies that conduct a formal insider threat program have a 50% chance of not getting breached, basically. 60% involve, employees that are leaving, that kind of stuff. What kind of stuff should we be looking for? Access attempts, privileges, data storage, unusual behavior, all this kind of stuff. Data transmission outside of normal stuff, okay? What's in our toolbox? This is the stuff that you should be looking at implementing. Something like a UBA, user behavior analytics, watching your file access, and data exfiltration. I can't tell you how many theft cases I've worked where and especially in like ransomware issues, they are, the data exfiltration is massive first. It's like, okay, we can't have a gigabyte pipe and then, the next day all of a sudden that pipe is totally full for 4.5 hours because they're sucking all our data, okay? PAM, for sure. User training awareness, not to scare people, but say, hey, we're watching. Protect the data, because if you protect the data, you'll protect the company, Definitely auditing logging, IR plan or a breach plan, whistleblower programs. Anybody have a whistleblower program? Yeah? Oh, wow, there's 2? That's awesome. There's 3. I usually get none in a room when I'm talking. That's cool. And threat hunting, looking for these threats, and not just that. Some type of endpoint detection, EDR or XDR, so you can see everything that's going on, not their keystrokes. I don't care about that. What I care about is seeing the data and the processes. What are they doing? Why is Nmap on my network when it's not? Or why is PowerShell running when it shouldn't? That kind of stuff. So according to the UK, GDPR is actually driving down insider threat. Again, user awareness and training. That's where they're getting that from. Really cool stuff. And it says it was dropping in the EU from 5 to 75%, but it's going up in the US because we don't have a lot of those controls here. Here's another Tesla one. This one's pretty cool. So this guy worked at the Gigafactory out in California. These 2 Russian guys came up to him and says, hey, we'll pay you $500,000 if you can take this USB drive and stick it in your computer and hit enter. That's all he had to do. Luckily for Tesla, he was smarter and very loyal to Tesla. He called Tesla Security Services and the FBI. They set up a sting, and they met these 2 gentlemen at a diner. Guess who the diner was filled with? Only FBI agents, okay? They had the entire diner just for FBI. Everything was recorded. They got these 2 guys to do this, okay? So the more you know. This is from CISA. This is an Insider Threat Cyber article. It's really, really good. I uploaded this PDF, so you don't have to take screenshots or whatever. Just download it. They'll have it available for download. There's 2 more. If you're dealing with infrastructure, there's a good one. Another one from the National Counterintelligence Agency, and Insider Threat Mitigation from CISA as well. So that's from the DNI and CISA. Those are a couple of good ones right there. This is a good book or article to read. This is for commercial espionage because I've worked several of these espionage cases. I worked one with we'll call them a chemical company, with a Chinese national that was an insider threat, stealing trade secrets. Okay. So my biggest thing being in the military is getting visibility. If you can't see it, you ain't going to find it, right? So being in the Navy, we had this thing called over the horizon. We need to be able to see over the horizon so we could see the enemies before they could see us, and we could, take them out. I wish as, in the IT cyber, don't you wish if you got breached, you can just, send one of these guys out and go. All kidding aside, that's happened. Okay? The first known case of cyber people getting wiped out by a drone was in Israel. Okay? So they had a cyber gang that was trying to breach them and cause havoc in their systems. They physically sent a drone because they knew where these guys worked out of this apartment and took out the apartment. Yeah, about 30 cyber people. I don't want to call them hackers. They're not hackers. So don't get this kind of visibility. Okay? It's a real picture. I swear all my pictures are real. I took this at a Subway, and it was funny. It's, like use number 1010 for duct tape. They actually replaced this camera, put another camera up, and I still have 35 minutes now. That's awesome. That they replaced that camera, and they put another camera, and it wasn't even hooked up for like 3 weeks. Unfortunately, I didn't get that other picture. I should have. Build for the advantage. You've got the advantage over the people. A lot of people don't think that. They're like, oh man, they've got super smart people. These cyber criminals are good. They're throwing 0 days at me. They're bringing them in, all this kind of stuff. But you know the who, what, when, where in your environment. So build for that. So I'll leave you with Dave's top 10. Always treat your network as hostile. Always assume breached. Okay. Threat hunting programs. Anyone? Bueller? Are we still awake? Or have y'all had lunch and now you're saying, Dave, I'm ready for dessert, so hurry up? Okay. Nobody's immune. Of course, have that post-breach strategy ready. Don't forget about the insider threat. That's what we were talking about today. Always do number 2. Okay, this is a family show. We'll come back to number 2. Know your network. Okay, I swear to God, I worked at a breach many years ago, and I ask 3 things when I do IR. I want to see the DNS, okay? I want to see their network layout, and where's the bathroom. They actually gave me the network map. It was dated 1996. Okay, that was over 10 years old. I'm like, yeah, these are not your egress and ingress points. Okay, I promptly threw that in the trash. Backup, 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 and test your backups. How many people test their backups once a month? How about once every 3 months? Okay. Every 6 months? Once a year? Wow. So for whoever didn't raise your hand, that means you never test your backups. Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, when the day of the rant, you can script this stuff. Do test, restores. Whether it's online or tape backup or whatever, I'm a big proponent of tape backup. Train your security staff. Security awareness for everyone and not click, 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 I'm secure kind of thing. Oh, here's number 2, patch, patch, patch. Don't wait 6 months to patch. I mean, look at all the people who had Move It. I mean, they're still exploiting Move It, 6 months after it came out because corporations can't seem to patch their stuff. And refer back to number 7. I got one. Okay. So yes, that is a programming joke for an infinite loop. So you want red or black? Black. My only black left. It's my last one. No, I don't care. I'll get more. I'll just call the printer. Make me some more. Make me some more. Awesome. And number 1, I'm sorry, Ryan Reynolds was not here to give this presentation. In all seriousness, security never takes a vacation. It's like I wish we could take vacations, but it seems like I was at Universal Studios, 4 months ago or something, and I'm still getting pinged, Dave, we got X, Y, and Z going on, because there was a big breach that I had to go help out with. And that's my talk for today. Perfect. Awesome. Thank you. Is there any questions? Can I answer any questions for you? So, let's see. Rick, dude. Yes. You only get a red one. So basically, I Rick-rolled everyone in the room. If you check the Wi-Fi, you'll see there's a bunch of Wi-Fi hotspots that are the lyrics to Rick Ashley's, Never Gonna Give You Up. So, huh? I don't know, especially coming to one of my talks. Yes, sir. So you're good. We got one person that's good. Oh, Bluetooth. Let me get my other bag. Hold on. That's awesome. Yes, sir. This is my D&B watch. It's about $100 or so. It's actually a de-author is what its main goal is. So basically a de-author is to kick you off the wireless network and then you connect back to me. So I spoof, just for example, I'll just pick something out of the air, Southwest Airlines, and everyone on the plane, my watch is going to be more powerful than the thing they have in the front. You're going to connect back to me, and then I'm going to force you to go to Delta's website, I'm just saying. But that's what it does. It's great because I can just walk in, and I actually have a big de-author that's in my big wireless bag. Good question. Who else? Anyone? Yeah, and I've got to travel to Toronto next week to speak at Black Hat. Yeah, and I carry lockpicks and stuff in my bag, and if I have all my wireless, and they look at this and they're like, holy crap. So, anybody else? No questions. Yes, sir. You already got a ring. I'm just kidding. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that is one of the biggest ones where, someone's exiting. I do a lot with like DoD and aerospace as well. So they do it, it's all project based. So if they're building a new plane or a new tank or whatever, I help them on their insider threat mitigation techniques. And on those cases, it's not somebody that's going to leave. It's usually a lifelong person that either has financial problems or I'll tell you the biggest one is divorce. People that are, men or women, it doesn't matter. I've caught insider threats that are women. I've caught them that were men too. So that seems to be the clicker for those kind of situations. Yeah, major life event. And even the FBI, that's what they look for too. They really do. Yes. What about what? What about Congress? Stay after class. Yeah, I have way too much shit to talk about that. Yes. Anybody else before we call it a day? Are we having a good time at HughesatCon? Remember my Twitter address at Network232. I'm going to put up a poll in the next 30 minutes or so. Vote for me, please. I got a thumbs up, so I got at least one vote. Awesome. I really would love to keynote next year. I've got a really cool talk that I've been working on. Yes, gig 'em horns. So, awesome. Well, thanks everybody for coming. If you have any questions, I'll be up here, okay?